the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
All right, race fans, welcome live tonight here, Pocono Raceway. They call it the Tricky Triangle, and I tell you what, I always call them the monster machines. They are bad, fast cup cars here tonight for the Sim500 Transervice here live, Pocono Speedway. It's a special one here on the Sim Racing Network tonight. And myself, well, yeah, the voice might sound familiar. Joe White up here in the booth, but I'm accompanied by Ben here tonight. Ben, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Joe. Glad to have you on board with us tonight here at the Tricky Triangle. We're looking forward to this great show we've got on tap for us. 80 laps here. Gonna be some fuel strategy, I think, mixed in, and of course we'll always have the tire saving going on in the background to kind of blend everything together. So tonight's gonna be a great race, and not to mention we've got some pretty exciting stuff going on in the championship standings around the cutoff for the playoffs. They're coming up in 6 races, including tonight. We have Shane Ewing. He is only 1 point outside of the cutoff, outside of P16 in the championship standings. Kevin Brown is 5 back and 17 back as EJ O'Rourke. Jose Gonzalez sits a little bit further back. So all these guys, Joe, trying to make it in to that top 16 in the next 6 races to have a chance at going to the championship race in Homestead at the end of the season.
Well, man, I tell you what, it sounds like a mouthful and a handful here tonight because, like I say, Pocono is, like you said, Tricky Triangle, and it got its name, well, basically because there's 3 turns. Normally we set it off with 4 turns, but tonight these guys are going to have to deal with 3. And, kind of familiar with a lot of these drivers out here at the Sim500. Definitely some bad, fast fellas and some bad, fast machines on a bad, fast track here tonight. Like you said, it's starting to heat up for the chase here as summertime is closing down. I think we're almost out of July, which is the hot part of the months, but it's going to be hot here tonight on the track.
It certainly is. Looking at track temperature of 118. That's fluctuated a little bit. It has been a little bit higher, a little bit lower throughout the course of practice and qualifying. The ambient temperature, air temperature is 79 degrees with winds north at 2 miles per hour. Not going to really be a factor today, but that track temperature, Joe, is what we're going to watch over the course of this run. And, if the bottom gets heated up, say in the tunnel turn, these guys may have to move up a lane, or they may have to search the racetrack down in 1 and 3. It's really going to create an interesting race here tonight, and I've loved the update. It was many moons ago now that with the dynamic tracks and the air temperature and the track temperature that iRacing implemented, it's all been just phenomenal racing since that update a couple builds ago. But here we go, Joe, looking to run you through tonight's starting lineup, and here's how they'll come to the green flag. It'll be Nelson Rivera in the number 22, stealing the pole away from Adam Gilliland. That'll be the front row tonight. Justin Fuller going to roll off in that 3rd position into number 51. Steve Gottschalk, a spectacular qualifying effort for the driver to 91. He'll start 4th tonight. Nicholas Cohan rounding out the top 5. Timothy Johnston going to roll off 6th. Mike Grandy 7th. Mitch Rollo going to be 8th. And it's David Comstock and Nick Silver rounding out the top 10 in row number 5 there.
Yeah, we got Miguel Standis right there. Hope I said his last name right. Starting out in 11th. Old Jeff Sharp up in the 12th place spot. Jose Gonzalez, I call him Speedy. He's sitting 13th. Chad Coleman right there in the 14th spot. Looking good. 15th spot. Doey Woods and Chris Jaboo. Hey, I finally got that man's last name on point, but he's starting 16th right there, the night 17th starter. Scott Simley, I call him Smiley. He's smiling, and hopefully he'll be in victory lane. Glenn Campbell there, an 18th, 19th starter. Steve Richter and Kevin Brown rounds the top 20.
You have E.J. O'Rourke, Doug Ross, Shane Ewing, Daniel Falkingham, a surprise there. Qualifying way back in 24th. He's a championship leader tonight, 6 wins on the season. Rolling off P24. 25th, Dwayne Vincent, and it's Wortman, Cole, DeBarro, Casto, Ryan, rounding out the top 30, and the rest of the field going to scroll across your screen there as we get tuned up for the start of this one here tonight at Pocono. Joe, as a driver heading into this race, what kind of strategy would you throw at this thing early on? Do you go try and get every position you can on this initial start and then maybe have some track position throughout the middle of the race, or do you kind of wait a little bit and then kind of feel the race out as it goes on?
You know, normally my playing style when I was a driver was to sit back, let the car come to me, be a little bit, non-aggressive and whatnot. But, and also you got to play in a factor of what the race is going to give you. Pocono, sometimes it can go green, and we could actually see some long green flag runs. And, pit stop strategies could play a factor. But like you said, tire wear, that's another thing these guys have got to think about. You got long straightaways, but the turns are different. There's 3 unique turns here. Turn 1 is way different than turn 2. And then you go into the kind of like the flatter style turn, a turn 3, which I say you got to have the momentum coming out of, because coming down that long pond straightaway, definitely something to we're going to be looking at all night long. Like I said, got to play in the factor of what this race is going to bring you. But these guys, they're some of the best out here.
Certainly is. And you mentioned one word there that's going to be key all night long, especially with this new 550 package, momentum. It's all about keeping up momentum with this new package. If you bobble just a little bit, corner entry, corner exit, center to corner, you're going to lose all that momentum down the straightaway. And, Joe, I've seen it in the past at a couple other tracks. You could lose 3, 4, 5, 6 positions in one straightaway with this new package if you lose that momentum.
Absolutely, and that's the thing you got to think about here. Draft will play a factor with these cars. The new Cup package out there, definitely full effect. I love it. I like it. I think the racing is very, very exciting with it, especially here on iRacing, one of the best simulators out there that money can buy. Or I always say the realest thing, without spending millions of dollars, without getting set as the green flag is about to fly here at Pocono. We're racing here tonight.
Green flag is out, and round number 21 here in the Transervice Cup Series. It's 240 turns tonight, 80 laps at the Pocono Raceway, and look at them as they race down into turn number 1. Not as much fan out as you'll see maybe a little bit later in the race. It's going to be Nelson Rivera taking an early lead down into turn number 1. They'll battle side by side for that second position, but it's going to be Adam Gilliland with the advantage off of turn number 1, and he swings all the way to the bottom, breaking the draft of that number 51 behind him.
Yes, it is. And Nelson Rivera, like you said, he's cruising out front. Adam Gillen right there behind him. Everybody's single file. And that's the thing. They're going to try to get single file early on. But you see some double file racing back here. Nick Silver, he's in the mix. He's side by side. He's got that 21. And Nick Cohan, keep an eye on that man there. He's got a fast hot rod and a 92 of Mike Grandy. Everybody single file. I think that's the key, Ben, as we're going to look here in this race. Now, they will fan out 3, 4, 5 wide coming down that front stretch. But when they got to settle that before they get in turn 1.
Absolutely. A great qualifying effort by Mike Grandy there in the 92. He rolls off 7th here tonight and already back to 9th, but he got shuffled back a little bit on the restart there on that bottom groove. Got kind of hung out to dry, but now he battles side by side with David Comstock there in that 42. That'll be a battle for the 9th position as those drivers race it out down Long Pond straightaway, heading towards the tight tunnel turn. And just as we talk about that, Joe, we got a battle up front for the lead. Make it a quick battle. Not really a battle. We'll call that a swap for the lead. Adam Gilliland going to take the lead and lead the field down into turn number 3. And off of corner number 3, he'll lead his first lap of the night here at Pocono.
Yes, he did. He made that pass look easy, but I think we got to look at that. The 22 of Nelson, we mentioned it, momentum. That car slipped just a little bit. Guess who took advantage of it? Adam did. He went on the inside, made that pass look smooth as butter. Justin Fuller, though, took the second place spot. Again, we talked, and we're going to just reiterate it all night long. Momentum, momentum, momentum. These turns, when you come off of it, if you make one bobble, one mistake, one slip, the guy behind you is going to be all over you. Right now, these guys are so close with each other. You know, it doesn't take much. So you got to kind of race the track. You got to race everybody else around you. But right now, they're trying to race in this track a little bit.
Absolutely. And you mentioned that, if you make a small bobble, break that momentum, you can lose handful of spots, which is exactly what happened to leader Nelson Rivera there. Now he finds himself back into third position with pressure from Steve Gottschalk, and now Mitch Rollo into the equation, cracking the top 5 here at the Tricky Triangle. Rollo's got a run on Gottschalk. He swings that Ford Mustang to the inside, down into turn number 1, and that'll be a battle for the 4th spot as they race through turn number 1 here at Pocono.
And inside, Mitch is going to try to make that move look good. He does. Steve Gottschalk's still there, but Mitch makes the pass. And I tell you, the whole top 10 right now kind of single file. You got to go back here to Jose Gonzalez and company. And Doey Woods back here before you get side-by-side action. Jose's got that thing on the inside. So these guys back here try to jockey around to get position. One thing I'm noticing, too, here, Ben, this track right now, you look at the lap times. The lap times are so close with each other that it is going to be hard to pass. You're not seeing anybody right now at the moment come from the back all the way to the front as they're coming out 3 wide out of turn number 3.
Yeah, I was just about to point that out. That's Scott Simley, Kevin Brown, and 6-time winner this season, Daniel Falkingham in that mix. Falkingham trying to swing his way. He's trying to make his way through the front of the field. He started 4th and has really only gained about 4 spots since the drop of the green there. Joe, you mentioned it. Time's so close here in the early going, you really have to wait until about 8-10 laps before the tires start to wear and you can start really picking them off.
Yes, it is right there. Like I said, Daniel, he's just stuck in traffic, nowhere to go. I know it's frustrating as a driver for us here, exciting to look because it's nose to tail, bumper to bumper. He wiggles a little coming out of the turn, and the man behind him, Doug Roth, right there, had to check up. He lost all kinds of spots.
Checked up, lost the momentum, and now he's 3 wide in the middle, going backwards as E.J. O'Rourke going to throw some grass up on the racetrack down in turn 3. Now O'Rourke slides up the racetrack. Roth with a crossover off of turn number 3 to put us 3 wide briefly again down the front straightaway. They kind of fall back in the line, but look at Roth. He lost that momentum out of the tunnel turn, and he's not going to get back up to full speed again until maybe this time in the tunnel turn. And look how many spots he's lost. 5, 6, 7 already.
Man, disaster right there. It could happen just at the moment. I mean, you see it there. Everybody single file back here. I mean, it's always called a hornet's nest there, Ben. I mean, it's just like these guys are just in the mix of it. Nowhere to go. We were sitting there talking about it. It's frustrating as a driver, exciting here as a viewer, and for us to see up here and watch this kind of racing. But these guys know, man, everybody equal and on equal ground, just a hard place. I got a feeling we're going to have to see somebody, if this thing goes green, do something drastic pitch strategy-wise.
Certainly, and, that's almost never out of the question here in Sim500 in the Xfinity Series. On Sunday nights, we have a driver, we call him Two-Tire Daily. He always, at the end of the race, it never fails. He takes 2 tires, and Byron Daly has won now 8 events in the season, and a lot of those has come from...
Ticket.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of them has come from, just great driving, but a lot has come from, I'd say 50-50, come from the 2-tire strategy, and, that's what we talk about it. You never know. Even the short pitting, if you come down 2-3 laps prior to the people around you, that'll gain you a couple spots on the track. And here at Pocono, where it's so hard to pass, it's worth it.
It is. You're absolutely right. You see Jose Gonzalez, he's picked up a few spots here. He's up to 12th right now. He's got the 9 and the Gale right there behind him. Doey Woods in the mix of the 14. It just, they call this place a tricky triangle. And, it is tricky. Every turn is different. We mentioned that before the race. You go into turn 1 there, and then the tunnel turn to turn 2, and then turn 3 is more flat. You got to keep that momentum coming through it, but you also got to be kind of patient because as those tires wear out, Ben, that turn 3, I think that's where they get that name tricky at, because that is a tricky turn.
It certainly is, and you'll see a lot of drivers down almost in the grass on that rumble strip, Joe, to make this car turn on the long runs down there in turn number 3. And this is one of the hardest tracks as a driver. It's almost like a road course in a sense. It's so hard to get into a rhythm here. You have your Charlotte, your Bristols, your Dover. It's real easy to get into a nice rhythm there at those tracks, but here at Pocono, it's just so hard. You have 3 different turns, and then sometimes you have 3 different straightaways as well. You get lost on those straightaways and you forget where you're at on the track, and then you hit the tunnel turn thinking it's turn 3, and boy, it just messes your whole lap up. So to conquer this place, you really the cream rises to the top here. Absolutely does.
Joey right there tried to dive on the inside in the gale, couldn't get the job done. And later on in this run, tire wear will become a factor. That's one thing that we don't, as a commentator or a viewer or anything here, we don't feel that inside the car, but these drivers definitely do. We can see it on the track. Tire wear, those cars become a little unstable, even though with the package that this Cup has, with the amount of downforce that it has, after about lap 10 to 15, these guys start feeling the rear end of them cars slipping out from under them.
Absolutely, the rear end slipping out and the front end kind of pushing up the racetrack, and then you combine both of those, and then you got an ill-handling race car. So you got to save your tires as much as possible in the early parts of these runs in order to have a shot at getting the win here tonight. And looking at Timothy Johnson right there in the 28, he's battling one of the best tire savers in the business. I called him the best last night, and then he called me back out on it. He said, no, I'm not the best. Sometimes I get my butt handed to me, but tonight it looks like Comstock's doing a pretty good job at saving his stuff, and he's picking off some cars left and right. There he gets by Steve Gottschalk. That was for the 6th position over in the tunnel turn. So Comstock making up some ground. He's coming from P9 on the initial start up through the field.
Yes, he is. David looking very good. You got Steve right there behind him. Timothy Johnson in the mix. Chad Coleman and Nick Cohan's right there battling it out just a little bit. And Nick lost a little momentum out of turn 3. He's going to go door to door with Chad Coleman down the front stretch there. Whoever's got that momentum, they'll decide what they got to do as they get down here into turn 1. They're still going to go side by side. And it looks like Nick Cohan's going to take that spot.
Cohan going to have it for the time being. Chad Coleman had a great run in the Kick-Ass Series last night. He got so out of shape on the back straightaway, dropped outside the top 20, and we had about an 80-lap green flag run, and he found himself sitting 3rd at the end of the thing. So had a great run last night. Looking for another good run tonight. He's already top 10 from the starting position number 14. So Coleman looking to have a good run. And he's one of those drivers, flirting with the playoff. He sits 12th. He's got a little bit of comfort, but a couple bad races and he could drop outside the top 16. So he's looking for a good what's the word I'm looking for? A good comfortable finishes over the next 6 races.
And that's it. I mean, that's what you got. Eye on the prize. You got to get there to the chase and be in it to win it, to be the champion here at the Transervice Cup, here at the Sim500. I tell you, these guys, it's going to come down to the line as the season comes to a close here, but it's anybody's ball game because you've got some high, a lot of talent on this track right now.
Absolutely. Speaking of the champion in the Cup Series, Mitch Rollo, defending champion, picking up another spot on the racetrack. He's now up to the 2nd position. He got around Justin Fuller in turn 1 and looking to maybe try and run down Adam Gilliland, who has opened up about a 1.5 second lead over the rest of the field. And just as we say that, the first caution of the night going to fly here at the Tricky Triangle.
Yeah, let's look back here and see. Boy, we got a pile up back here. Joey Catina's involved in it. Let's see who else is involved. See where it started from. We'll go back here on Joey Catina right fast. Oh, yeah. Well, it started in front of him up there with the 43. Actually, the 43 of Doug Roth. So let's go on him. Little checkup action there in front of him, though.
They were 3 wide with Kevin Brown coming through the tunnel turn there. Man, that never works out. No matter how hard you try, 3 wide in the tightest part of the racetrack are really going to spell disaster.
Absolutely, it does. Go back here on the replay. All the viewers, they love, they love wrecks. Who doesn't like wrecks? Yeah, they were 3 wide right there. Wow, and then just everybody just trying to check up, nowhere to go. I mean, this place is not the widest on a lot of the areas except for the front stretch. So right there, you just saw a perfect example of, just nowhere to go, and the track kind of closing up very quickly. Watch it one more time here for the viewers, but man, just nothing they could do. Yeah, wow.
That was at least a half dozen cars, if not more, involved in that first incident. And that inside safer barrier, Joe, that was added back in, I want to say 2013. This track used to be real wide. You have a lot of grass to kind of avoid stuff and kind of spin through, but not anymore. They put that safer barrier closer to the racetrack to try and minimize the hits on the guardrail down on the inside, and kind of creates a funnel almost in some spots, especially in that short chute between turn 2 and turn 3.
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, just coming in there to turn 2, just got a little bit out of shape. Next thing you know, boom. I mean, everybody, nowhere to go. A lot of contact, tore up cars. One thing to note for the viewers and everybody out there, no fast fixes here. So, tear it up. You're one and done.
Absolutely. As the field making their first pit stop of the night, sure we'll see 4 tires and fuel on all of these drivers as first time they get to service their machines this evening on lap number 14. It looks like Gilliland's going to win the race off of the pits, and going to put him out in front of the field.
Yes, it is. I'm going to tell you what, there's a cloud of cars coming off there battling off the top. Looks like you said Adam Gilliland and Bobby Wetzel. He's going to be noted as the front man right now, but he has yet to make his pit stop. He actually short pitted earlier. I saw him go on pit road. Kind of unique for that to happen. I don't know if maybe if he has a telepathic ability and saw maybe the caution coming. If we did, that's somebody we might need to talk to and say, hey, we need some inside pointers on what's going on the track.
Absolutely. So just a couple notes there on that pit stop. Mitch Rollo slid through his pit box, as did David Comstock, and that's going to mire them way back in the field. Remember, Rollo was second prior to that caution, Joe, and Comstock had cracked the top 5, I do believe. So, yeah,
come in second, fall back to 12th. That's usually not what you like to see. That's one argument you're going to have with the crew chief right there, just a little bit, the pit crew. But like you said, defending series champion, he knows how to get through the field. He definitely, he's just got to be patient. There's a long way to go. Don't want to wrinkle the fenders up on that machine. Got to get through the field here. We're talking about it's a hard place to pass. Now's the time and the mentality you got to have. I know I got a fast machine. I know I can win, but I got to be patient. And can he be patient bringing it to the front?
We'll keep an eye on him over this run, but like you said, going to restart outside the top 12. Comstock going to be back in 21st. Well, that's a stinger, isn't it?
that is. Now there's where really some patience is going to have to come in, because he's going to be marred back there. And well, I said it earlier, that hornet's nest of a race, because everybody's going to want to try to get to the front and get the most they can out of their tires early. And usually, that old saying, cautions breed cautions. Well, we hope not, but sometimes it does happen.
Absolutely. Let's update everybody on Bobby Wetzel. You touched on him there, Joe. Kind of did some looking into his situation. He pitted on lap 10, got back up to speed on lap 11. So he only has about a lap and a half on those tires. And I don't know if that was a planned pit stop or maybe he just had to come in and take care of something on that number 9 machine. Nonetheless, though, it puts him in perfect position to have the race lead here for this restart. So we'll see what Wetzel can do out in front of the field here at the Tricky Triangle as they head through the short chute looking for the green flag. This time by will restart on lap 15 of 80 here in the Transervice Cup Series.
Yeah, I mean, you pointed it out right there. It was a good call on Bobby's part. Not sure why he short pitted like he did. Not 100% sure on how long these guys can go fuel-wise. I mean, we were about 14, 15, 13 laps into that run, so he definitely made a short pit as we're getting set to go green flag here, Pocono.
Off of corner number 3, pace car going to head out of the way of the snarling pack of Monster Energy Cup Series cars behind him. Green flag is back in the air, and how about a drag race down into turn 1? Gilliland's going to have the slight advantage, though, coming up through the gears in that 81 from the outside.
Yeah, it is, but the inside lane should rule coming down here. If he can make it stick, we'll see if those tires will hold on. New versus kind of old, he's going to for the moment, but the car washes up the track 3 wide.
3 wide off of turn number 1 for the lead here on lap 16 at Pocono. They split the gap there. Justin Fuller on the inside. Gilliland on the outside. Now Nick Silver trying to get around Wetzel as well as they go side by side through the tightest part of the racetrack, the tunnel turn for the lead. Fuller down on the apron trying to get that car to turn.
Man, I tell you what, this is door-to-door, wheel-to-wheel right here. Here comes Nick Silver up there. He's trying to figure out which way he wants to go. On the rumble strips is Justin Fuller. That car's going to stick for the moment. Out of turn 3, they will go single file, crossed in the line. Adam is going to take the spot. Crossover move, though. He's thinking about it.
Oh, boy, they come close right there. Look at Silver. Bump drafting Fuller, trying to push him around the 81 down into turn 1. Fuller has the advantage now. Can he slide up in front of that 81? He'll do just that. Give Justin Fuller the lead for the first time here tonight at Pocono. Now Gilliland has to try and fend off that 15.
Man, I tell you what, that's an exciting racing right there, and good strategy between those two. Justin Fuller motored that machine right around Adam and took the lead, but now he's got his hands full with Nick Silver all over the back end. You've got Nelson Rivera right there in the mix too. Everybody's single file. That's what new tires at the moment will get you, and I think that's the importance. We talked about it. These guys understand we got to get what we can get while the tires are good, because we know the fall off later on. Caution's out.
Caution going to wave for the second time here at the Pocono Raceway, and this time it's Joey Jatina. Spun around in turn number 3 again, but he kind of came in a little bit late to this one, and I think it
Tommy
happened
Ryan
in front of him.
Yeah, Tommy Ryan involved. Yeah, oh, yeah, Tommy Ryan just nowhere to go and just demolishes that machine. Let's ride along here, like you said, with Joey Katina and see exactly where it all started from. But man, Tommy Ryan nowhere to go. Joey coming into the turn right here actually started right in front of him. He just checked up. Yep, got involved. Actually, Randy Yoakum was the 8 machine who originally brought that one out.
So that puts us under the caution for the second time here at the Tricky Triangle, and now the decisions down on pit road that's really gonna kind of throw a kink here. Does anybody take 2 tires here, or does anybody try and stay out? We saw Bobby Wetzel stay out, and he has already dropped outside the top 10, albeit he only had a lap and a half on his tires, but now these guys, Joe, have about 2 laps on theirs. So what do these leaders decide to do up front? We're going to find out here coming off turn 3.
You know, it's a good one. Bobby Wetzel's probably going to play, well, I don't want to say right off, not 100% sure. Probably going to play and see what the leaders do. If they come in, he's definitely going to come in, because this is going to put him on the same pit strategy as the top guys, and you're going to see some come in. Justin says no, fakes them out. And Nick Silver and company coming down on pit road.
Wow, that was late decision there for Adam Gilliland. I thought he was going to run straight into the pit road attenuator there, but he stays out. Gilliland does. Coleman stays out. Gottschalk, Glenn Campbell, Doy Woods, Brian Wertman, and a handful of others going to stay out here at the Tricky Triangle. Steve Ritter going to be the last one. He's actually the lucky dog for this caution, so he'll get one of his laps back. Now to put him 1 lap down. Here, 35 cars still on the lead lap. Joe, after lap 18 and after that big one we had just a couple of minutes ago over in the tunnel turn.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I think this right here is going to favor Justin Fuller and Adam Gilliland. And the reason I say that, a lot of, we saw earlier that the old tires fell off a little bit to the new tires. If there would have only been just those 2 stay out and everybody behind them pit on 4 tires and new tires, I'd have said, ooh, bad decision on the top 2.
Yep.
What'll happen now is those guys with the newer tires, they've got at least 3 or 4 cars that they're going to have to make it around. We've already seen this as a very, very tough place to pass, and over time, tires will level off. So by the time they get to Justin Fuller and company, and by the time they get around them, I think the evenness of the tires, and as hard as it is to pass here and as fast as Justin and Adam's been, it's going to make it tough. So maybe a good call this time around, something to think about as the race goes on later on in the laps.
Absolutely. I'll agree with you, and we'll have to see how this restart does kind of work out for these drivers up in the front. You mentioned it, Gilliland and Fuller, they'll be row 1, row 2, Chad Coleman, Steve Gottschalk, they're on old tires, Glenn Campbell, Doy Woods. So that's the top 3 rows on old tires as Brian Wortman going to head to the service of his crew this time by. So 3 rows, 6 cars on old tires. The rest is a snarling pack of 4 new tires behind him, or behind them. So we'll see what happens here on this restart. I can assure you we may see some 3, possibly 4 wide action before the first lap's said and done with.
And here's the time where on the new tires, I understand you've got to try to get what you can get. We've said that all race long. Get everything you can early on, because after a while that the fall off of the tires and the handling, it's just very hard to pass and everybody gets single file. Well, here's the thing. You've got to be patient, because now you got guys on older tires. You're going to be probably a little bit, you've got the grip in the turn. You got to be careful going into those turns, and you could run over somebody, not intentionally, just kind of accidentally.
Absolutely. Let's see if we can pull up a driver here, Joe, under this caution. How about the driver who runs 4th right now? That's Steve Gottschalk having a spectacular run here tonight at the Tricky Triangle. Steve Ben up in the booth. You got a copy?
He must have taken fuel.
I think we caught him there in some communications there. Steve Ben Kilker's up in the SRN booth.
Ben.
You got a copy?
Yeah, hang on one sec, Ben. Okay. I'm all yours, Ben.
All right, so there we go. The team chatter done in the background. Here we go, Steve. You're having a great run tonight here, sitting P4. You qualified 4th. Dropped back a little bit there on that initial start, but all in all, a great run tonight for that Nerf machine. What's it going to take to finish this thing off in the top 5?
I think it's going to take doing a little bit better at managing my tires than I did that first run. I really felt like I could stay with those guys probably the first half of that run, and then it just started to get too pushy and people were passing me, and then it got worse.
We've been watching, we've been enjoying ourselves up here. It's been some great racing. Do you think we'll get to the point where we'll see a fuel strategy thing when we come down to the closing part of this race? We're only a quarter of the way through, so still a long way to go.
I don't know. If we can avoid having any more cautions, it'll definitely come down to fuel strategy.
All right, Steve, we thank you for chatting with us, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you a little bit later up and on the podium, and good luck on this restart and the rest of the race.
Thanks.
There you have it, Steve Gottschalk, one of the best guys in the group. Joe, I love chatting with Steve and hanging out with him after the races and whatnot. He's a class act and having a great run tonight, sitting 4th.
Yeah, I call him the Nerf man there. He's definitely still running the 91 machine, and he is definitely fast. He knows how to get around these tracks. Definitely a long-time runner here at the Sim500. Like you said, man, a good guy there, Steve Gottschalk, and man, it's good to see him having a good run. We're just going to see, like you said, see all those tires. Now, he's kind of sitting in the middle of that pack. I'd say he's sitting in a pretty good. It's all going to depend on how well he can get started here on this restart, though.
Absolutely. Let's look at some of these drivers inside the top 7, Joe. Chad Coleman, he sits 3rd, up from 14th. Glenn Campbell, he sits 5th. He's up from 18th. Doy Woods is up from 15th to 16th. And Nigel Standish in that 09 up from 11 to 7 here on lap number 21. So a couple big movers inside the top 10 here. 2 up front started 3rd and 2nd respectively, and well, Gilliland going to start 2nd on this restart, but Justin Fuller choosing the outside line for this restart. So Fuller, your leader. Pace car getting set to head to pit road. Remember, these first 3 rows of cars on older tires. Green flag back in the air, and Justin Fuller gets a hell of a jump, and he'll lead us down into turn 1.
They will, and you saw the guys in the back right there, the older tires, they had to kind of get those things going. Don't want to spin the tires. That's another thing we didn't mention. Spinning the tires would have been crucial, as the guys in the back with the new tires had to check up just a little bit. Nick Cohan's on the outside, Mitch Rolo's there on his inside. That's where the new tires play a factor, as everybody up front. Here's what I was talking about earlier there, Ben. Those guys with those newer tires, they understand, I got to get out of this pack. I got to get to the front, because the longer they wait, the more leveled off it's going to be and harder to catch those top guys in contact.
Trouble! Look out, they're sideways and crashing again through the tunnel turn. Big one.
Man, that was an awesome save. But I'm going to tell you, like we just said right there, that was a big one. The 44 of Glenn Campbell. I thought he had it saved. Let's go back on the replay. Watch it one more time. I'm going to tell you that he had it saved and then just bounced right off the side of Nick Cohan. And it was chaos from there. It's a junkyard in the back.
Certainly is. Wetzel also got turned around in a big checkup back there. And, you know, I hate to say it, Joe, but I think that may have been a part of the incident there with the old tires versus the new tires. New tires trying to come up through the field and just putting pressure on those old tires to maintain their positions. It's kind of like mixing oil and water. It just doesn't really work, especially in that tight section back in the tunnel turn.
No, it don't, and like you just said right there, just a tight turn, and unfortunately, you know, we knew, you know, kind of something like this would happen. You know, the guys tried to avoid it the best they could, but you know, you just kind of see it coming. The guys on the older tires, they did not do bad on the start. They actually got the field going, but going into those turns, you've got so much bite, so much grip on a newer set of tires that you know, you gain so much momentum on the front guy. Sometimes, you know, well, I'm an older gentleman. My reflexes aren't as fast as probably some of these young guys. The problem with those new tires is you can gain on the guy in front of you so quick, you might not be able to turn fast enough.
Absolutely, and I think that's part of the contact there that kind of spruced up was that, you know, just the closing rate on those drivers, trying to get as much as they could in the least amount of time as possible. And that one took out a good, I'd say, 8-10 cars over there in the tunnel turn. Didn't take them out, but involved 8 or 10 cars, including one of the drivers that maybe was a favorite coming into tonight, that 42 of David Comstock. Remember, Joe, he missed his pit box on that first caution that put him back there in the middle of the pack, and now he's junked.
Yeah, and, you know, you're back there in danger, marred in traffic, and that's just a place you do not want to be, and nothing you can do. Like you said, made a mistake on pit road. I call them mental mistakes there, Ben. And those are just as much crucial as having speed and having the car and having all the talent in the world on the track. If you make mental mistakes and hitting the bump in the wall a little bit on pit road, overshooting, you know, your pit box, speeding on pit road, I call those the small things, the details that you have to keep up with throughout the whole entire race. If you lapse on one of those can cost you, no matter how fast you are all day long, it can cost you the race.
Certainly is, and have a good announcer friend that really sums it up best. On a Rolex watch, you have a couple of larger gears that do a good portion of the work, but then you have all the smaller gears, the fine-tuned ones, the ones that really matter. And if one of those small gears is out of place, well, then the watch isn't going to work at all. And that's kind of how it is with this racing thing. You know, the big part is hitting your marks on the racetrack, having a clean race, but all those small gears like pit road, working through traffic, all those little small things like you mentioned, Joe, that's what really completes the whole race. And, you know, all it takes is one of those small things to be out of line, and you can really find yourself in trouble, which is what a lot of these guys have tonight.
Yeah, you know, you see it in real racing, you know, day after day. Guys talk about, you know, I had the fastest car. Sometimes the fastest car does not always win. It's about putting a whole package together to be there at the end, and definitely winning the race here. So far, it has been exciting, everything we thought about here at Pocono tonight, as these guys, Justin Fuller and Adam Gillian, the two top guys out front, have held the field at bay. And we're going to see what they can do. It's going to be interesting here now, though. I know it shows 11 laps on their tires. The caution laps kind of, heat cycle through them a little bit. But still, that window, Mitch Rollo, remember he was marred back in traffic. Look where he's at right now in 5th place.
Yeah, and I tell you what, he was real close to being involved in that incident that put us under this caution here over in the tunnel turn. The C's kind of split for him. He drove straight through the middle, or he'd be junked right now, like the rest of the field, like a good portion of the rest of the field right now. So Rollo got lucky there, and, well, sometimes luck is what wins the race. We've seen that happen many times again. Jose Gonzalez back there in that 7th position. We talked about him kind of working through traffic, not making some of the best moves, but now he finds himself up to P7. He started 13th at 26 #GotBalls Pepsi machine, looking pretty sporty here so far at the Pocono Raceway.
Yeah, I always called him Speedy Gonzalez. First time I ever saw him out there, and then I saw the like I said, the go balls on the side. It's cool from where he is. I think it was from Puerto Rico, I believe is what he said he's from.
Yep.
But he actually has a food service truck, and that is kind of cool. He said he goes around and selling it, man, on one of the food service style trucks, and he does like subs and stuff. So it's a cool guy, and I've got a fine time talking to him, but definitely knows how to get around this track, knows how to wheel one of these. I call them the monster machines out here, the cup cars. Knows how to get this thing around the track. Don't count him out. If he keeps the fenders clean and he's there at the end, he's somebody to look forward to.
Absolutely. Let's look back in that 10th spot, Joe. We talked about Daniel Falkingham a little bit earlier in the race. Outside the top 20, had a poor qualifying effort. Well, now he finds himself up to P10, the driver who has 6 wins so far this season, looking maybe pick up number 7 tonight. And, well, the driver who leads this race, he has led a good portion of the laps this season. He is 4th on the lap leaderboard so far in the Transervice Cup Series this season, but he only has 1 win to back that stat up. Maybe win number 2 comes tonight here at Pocono, but he's got the driver on the inside who has led the most laps by almost half than the rest of the field, and has 5 wins. That's Adam Gilliland right to his inside, who will restart 2nd here. So I tell you what, you talk about stats and some of the best in the business, well, they're all inside the top 10 now, so get ready for a race.
And get ready for a restart. One thing you have to think about, those top guys, the top 4 out there, 12-lap older tires, they're about 4 laps, maybe 5 laps difference between them. Got to see if that plays a factor on this restart. Remember, tire spin can play a deal here. So that's something they're going to have to think about in the back of your mind as a driver as we're getting set here to go green.
Absolutely. So you touched on it there. A couple of these drivers in the top 4, I think it's the top 4 now, are on about 3-4 lap older tires than the rest of the field behind. And there's even some guys at the very back of the field who came down and got service under this caution. So we've got the tire strategies all mixed and jumbled up here now at the Tricky Triangle, which is just adding another level of excitement for us up here in the booth. Working lap 26 of 80, closing in slowly but surely on that halfway point here in the Transervice Cup Series. Around number 21, iRacing.com Ford Mustang pace car pulls down to the safety of pit road. Justin Fuller is back in the gas, and we're back underway.
And he gets a good jump too, Justin does. But on the inside there, Adam Gilliland, they're going to almost go side by side heading into turn 1. If one of those guys on the newer tires, maybe Mitch Rollo, can get up there, he might be able to capitalize on this move as he's looking like he is.
Oh, look at Gilliland. He got a good run down there on the bottom, but Fuller, will he have the momentum off of turn 1 down Long Pond straightaway? They're side by side for the lead. Yet again, these two guys have been going at it pretty much the whole race since the first caution flew, and now through the tunnel turn. They get side by side again. Gilliland down on the apron. Fuller pinches him off the exit, and they're still side by side. Chad Coleman now joining the mix.
He is. Chad pulls right up on the back deck lid there. Justin Fuller and company, as they'll still go door to door through the triangle here of turn 3, out of turn 3 down the front stretch. Now Mitch Rollo's the man back there on the newest set of tires. He's sitting here going, will he fan out and make it 3 wide? No, he's going to follow Chad Coleman, and they're going to go 2 by 2 heading into 1.
Boy, he pushes Chad Coleman down the front straightaway. pushes him side by side with Gilliland for the lead, and now that is a battle. Up front, Coleman on the inside, Gilliland outside, Rolo's there, and here comes Jose Gonzalez. We just talked about him, speedy in the mix.
Man, it is Jose right there trying to figure out what these four guys in front are going to do right now as they head out of the turn. He's just going to sit and wait and see until they get done right there. But for the moment, look at a block up front from the 51er, Justin. He's trying to protect that inside lane.
Gilliland out in front. Now the battle going to go to that second position. Coleman trying to get it away from Fuller, but not going to have it there. So give Fuller the runner-up spot for the time being. And now the battle going to go for the third spot. Coleman has some battles going on with Rolo there as they battle for P3.
Well, I tell you what, you know, and what I was watching too, not only we got a battle up front, we got a battle and a tussle going on back here about 7th, 8th, and 9th place spot here, Ben. And the one thing is happening between the tires, the difference between them, it has bunched this field up. You got guys everywhere trying to pass and make moves, making it exciting and hectic as a driver right now.
That it has. And back to that battle for third. Give it to Rolo through the tunnel turn. He had some help from team affiliate Jose Gonzalez there in that 26, helped him get out in front of that 20 machine. Whoa, Nelson Rivera sent it down into 3, almost put the bumper to Jose Gonzalez, and almost some contact between those two as now Rivera gets a little bit loose off of turn number 3, maybe pushed up a little bit, lost some momentum, and now Falkingham down to the inside to try and take that spot away.
Yeah, it is. Daniel was going to try to capitalize. He looked to the inside for the moment, had to fall back in line, but here comes Nelson on the inside there of Jose. Jose slips up the track just for the moment. Chad Coleman still in front of them. I'm going to tell you what, this is some good side-by-side, nose-to-tail style racing, but right now Adam Gilliland is loving what he is seeing because he is walking away from the field behind him.
He certainly is, and he likes clean air. You give Gilliland clean air, and he will run for miles. That's why he has the most laps led of the season so far. I think it's 641 prior to this race. It's over 650 now as he continues to tick them off here at the Tricky Triangle. Look at that battle with Jose Gonzalez and Chad Coleman. Now Falkingham in the mix, and O'Rourke and Rivera all in there as well. What a great battle here for the top 5 spot.
Absolutely. Chad Coleman's looking at his rearview mirror, and he's got a full view mirror of Daniel Falkingham, but he looks to the inside of turn 1. Here comes Jose along with him. Nelson on the outside. They're going to go door to door out of turn 2, down this short little chute. But I'll tell you, they are still side, but that is a battle right there of those guys. And hey, Ben, that's just for 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Absolutely. Yeah, these guys going at it for a spot outside of the podium and putting on a great show for us here up in the booth. Is Coleman going to hold on to that spot for now? But boy, the big story of the race here is Daniel Falkingham. He's up to 5th, started 24th in this deal, and has found himself into the top 5 just a handful of laps prior to halfway.
Got the hammer down on that number 39 machine. Definitely a hard charger here tonight. Up to 5th place spot, looking to get more. See if he can't get around Chad Coleman. Still EJ O'Rourke and Jose Gonzalez back here. We'll go nose side by side. They get the 9 machine behind them. And Nigel, I'm gonna tell you, there is no love lost between Jose and EJ. Those two guys, well, I guess they love each other, but I don't know about that off the track. I've seen a lot of contact between them in the past.
Yeah, we'll see if they can keep it clean here through the tunnel turn as they go side by side. Here comes Standish. Got a good run through the tunnel turn. Looks to go to the inside now. Gonzalez down into turn number 3, and now he turns the 26 around. Gonzalez sideways. Bang!
Oh, man. And a 92 nowhere to go in the mix there. But you're right. Let's go back on the replay. Wow. Hey, just right there. Looks like the 9 got a little loose coming out of the turn. They went on the inside and then just, like you said, got into the rear of him. Turned them through the grass. Ouch. Jose Gonzalez, just like that, went from speedy to slowpoke Rodriguez in a matter of minutes.
Thought it was going to be good there, but Mike Grandy just had nowhere to go. Was already on the binders pretty hard. Narrowly avoided was Steve Gott's chalk. He almost got a piece of it, but Jose not as lucky as a 91, as now he sits on a pit road after having a great top 10 run here tonight at Pocono.
Yeah, and just like that, things on the track can happen very quickly. You know, when you're up here, we see it. It's exciting for us to watch, frustrating as a driver there. Just a lot of things can happen so quickly. You're trying to make moves. That car, man, pushes up the track ever so slightly. Two guys trying to take the same real estate at the same time. Something's got to give, and a lot of times it's going to be that car in the wall.
Absolutely. So bad break there for a couple of drivers. Maybe a good break for Justin Fuller and Mitch Rollo. They get to head down to the service of their crews and grab some fresh rubber on their Camaro and Mustang respectively there. So we'll see what happens down on pit road. Remember, Rollo found himself this close to the lead early in the race, had that mistake on pit road. Has he learned from that? And will he be clean and green down on pit road this time? By only time will tell as the field heads down to the service of their crews.
Well, I'm trying not to give that broadcaster jinx too much, but I will sit up here and get a little giddy because I'll have to admit I am a Ford man, and when you say Mustangs, I just go ecstatic, and that's what Mitch is in. So don't want to sit up here and get too excited and jinx him. Let's have to see him watch his pit stop here. Looks pretty smooth for the moment. It looks like he's going to take 4 tires and fuel here. That's probably most of the field will. Looks like a couple people are going to stay out. Brian Wortman and Sean Castro right there. Both of them staying out for the moment.
So we'll keep an eye on those two drivers over the course of this caution period. Castro on the lead lap, so maybe he's staying out to grab a lap lead here. Lockhart stays out as well. He is 4 laps down, so he may be looking for the wave around. Wortman stays out, and I'm sure we'll see him come down to the service of his crew as well. Nonetheless, though, the race off pit road is going to leave Daniel Falkingham picking up another spot. So now top 3 for the driver of that number 39, and a great run. Just a spectacular run up through the field for Daniel.
Let me tell you a little statistics here that we're seeing on the pit road. Mitch Rollo, you know, he came in, he was sitting in 3rd, lost a position there on pit road. Something that a lot of folks out there, not privy to, but I was looking at the pit stop times, and amongst those top 4 or 5 right there, Adam, he's sitting with a 14.8. Justin Fuller with a 14.4. Daniel had a 14.4. Mitch Rollo had a 14.0. And I know somebody's saying, well, then, Joe, how in the world can Mitch lose? Well, let me go through this little stat for you right here. The time from when they enter pit road, take their pit stop, and when they get off pit road. Adam Gillian had a 40.7 second, another 40.7 on Justin Fuller, but Daniel Falkingham had a 40.4 and a 40.7 for Mitch Rollo. That is where he lost the time, somewhere in the point of coming on pit road or off pit road. And that, go back to those mental things, sometimes that happens on pit roads that you can just see. That's where they always say pit stops can play the difference maker in a race.
Absolutely. I was watching that 96's stop down on pit road, and Joe, you kind of, as a driver, you get skittish to enter your box a little bit too fast, and I think that's what's happened to Mitch Rollo in the 96. I think he was entering a little bit too slow to try and not slide through his box there, and it actually ended up hurting him. Lost a little bit of time due to that. Only 1 spot on the track, though, this time, so much better than falling outside the top 10 like on that first caution.
And you're right. You're definitely 100% right on what you just said right there. Keep that in mind. He made a mistake earlier on pit road. Definitely don't want to do that. So it's better to give up 1 or 2 positions than it is 10 or 12. We saw what happened, unfortunately, to the man earlier. I think, who was that earlier? We saw who got in a wreck. Comstock, yep. He got marred back in traffic, got caught up in something. So Mitch definitely does not want that to happen. So you pointed it out right there, Ben. That's a good observation that he's probably taking a little bit easy on that pit stop.
Absolutely. So he'll restart outside of row number 2 here for this restart. Gilliland will lead us back to the green flag alongside Justin Fuller. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, and for Joe White for putting on the show, getting the picture that you see to you. Kind of a lifesaver here tonight. Usually we're working with the OSRN And now he's over here with the SRN helping us out for just one night. Tonight's broadcast is part of our Triple Threat streaming service, streaming live to our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We remind you to give the video a like, no matter what platform you're on, and to give us a follow so you can be notified whenever we go live. And well, so far, Joe, I've had some fun up here in the booth with you. Doing a great job, and I love your work. You're one of the best in the business.
Man, I appreciate it, man. I tell you what, I just go off the fact of love doing this. I love the fun. Love, man, the people that come out here, the family members. Everybody just gets exciting and watching this style racing. Been in NASCAR for a long, long time. But I love watching it. Love the radio style of things. And, you know, iRacing, I've said it a million times. I guess I'll say it 1,000,001 here. It's the realest thing that you can get without stepping foot and spending millions of dollars of putting money in out of your pocket to go out here and get into one of these real cars, because this is probably one of the best motorsport simulators on the planet, and a lot of great things are happening for iRacing, getting through with NASCAR and the peak antifreeze, and you know, obviously the NBC thing that they just did. So a lot of great things happening, and you know, it's just going to grow and grow and grow, and it's awesome to be here, awesome to be able to do it. And, you know, pleasure, man, to come up here and help out. You know, I know Mitch and company up here, yourself, Ben, and Sim500, very familiar with the league here. A lot of great talent on this track. These guys definitely know how to get it done, and you know, week in and week out, it is awesome to see.
It certainly is. I've been a part of you know, simulated broadcasting now for almost a decade. Started way back in the ETV Live days, if that gives you. Been a while, a long time. One of the pioneers of the sport, and I tell you what, this is certainly the future. You're watching it right here on your mobile device, on your computer, your TV, wherever you're tuned in tonight. You are watching the future of motorsports in America, in the world, right in front of you. Green flag though, back out in the air here on lap 36. We're 4 away from halfway, and how about that restart for Justin Fuller, getting a good run down into one. He's side by side with Gilliland.
Yes, it is, and he fans out way far trying to break the draft heading into turn number 1, but they're going to go side by side behind him. Daniel is looking to try to take the lead. He has hard charged his way all the way from the back to the front. This is his time to shine. He's battling with Justin Fuller right now, door to door.
They'll go side by side, coming up on the tunnel turn now as Fuller has a little bit of advantage. He clears the 39, at least for now, as they go side by side for third. That's Rollo and Falkingham. Almost some contact there as they come through the tunnel turn and onto the short chute, heading down into the flat turn number 3 here at the Pocono Raceway. Still side by side for that third spot. Rollo trying to get it back from Falkingham. Falkingham down on the rumble strips, loses a little bit of momentum, and that allows the 96 to pull away.
It does, and that's going to put them all single file right here as Adam's going to set sail and see if he can't get away from those pack back there and get a little daylight between him and the second place man of Justin Fuller. But I tell you, here, look at Nelson Rivera. He is back up into the mix. He is not going to give up on the back end of Daniel right now as they shoot out of turn number 2.
Boy, Rivera almost tagged a bumper of that 39 entering turn number 1. And now look at this, the top 5 all tail to nose as they come up to the tunnel turn. Bumper to bumper racing up at the front of the field. Great show here at Pocono, and that's what this 550 package really allows. Some tail to nose racing like this. A lot of draft comes into effect. Look at the spoilers on those cars. They stick so far out in the air. They punch a big hole. And, you know, the draft is a huge factor in these, especially on these big tracks like the Pocono Raceway, the Michigans, you name it. It provides for some very interesting style of racing.
Yes, it does. And he was just talking about Adam trying to set sail out front, but Justin Fuller has run him down. Adam right there might have got a little bit too comfortable up front here, but Justin has put the heat on him coming out of turn 2. Mitch Rollo still hanging on the third, but you talked about it. Draft plays a factor. Daniel Falkingham to the inside. He's going to go nose and tail and door to door with him into turn number 3. Man, they still going to take that, turn 2 right there. They're going to go door to door.
They'll go side by side. Rollo going to get the advantage from the outside. You'll see that as the tires start to wear off. That outside becomes more prevalent in the side-by-side battle, more dominant in the side-by-side battle, rather, as Falkingham had to lay off a little bit, lost some momentum using that bottom side, and Loses about 3-4 car lengths on the 96, but here we go down the longest straightaway in NASCAR. He catches right back up to the rear bumper with the help from the draft, and now we've got another battle for third heating up. We'll see what happens here off turn 1. Rolo looks to be going a little bit higher on exit than everybody else, and I don't know if it's maybe hurting him there a little bit. Joe, looks like he loses a little bit of speed doing that.
It does, and we talked about we have just kind of buried the subject in the ground here. Momentum. You know, he might get a little bit of bite coming off the turn, but it's going to kill him going into it. You know, and to us, it might look a little different. Maybe he's found something, a different groove on the track, something to keep an eye on here. Then again, that tires might not be to his liking. But the track temperature real quick. Has it changed? Not really. Kind of the same. So, really the conditions, but that does not tell the tale, Ben, as we're under caution.
Caution again, and oh my, Steve Gottschalk. We just talked to him a couple of cautions ago, and I think the announcer's curse is back.
Let's watch on the replay, see what happened out of turn 3. Oh, Doug Roth actually came out of turn 3, got up into the wall. Steve Gottschalk, just a victim of circumstance right there, as Doug Roth kind of bounced off the wall, and boom, Steve nowhere to go.
Well, you hate to see that. Gottschalk was having a good run, and he might blame us now as well. Man, the motor just expired going down pit road. Usually what happens when we talk about a driver, bring them up, you know, next caution or so, it may be them. So, man, hate to see that for Gottschalk, because he was having such a good run in that number 91. He was looking to maybe turn his season around here tonight at the Tricky Triangle.
You know, and just like that, you know, in racing, anything can happen. You could be out there running, the next thing you know, you get caught up into other people's, you know, mess or so forth. But yeah, it's racing. Some things happen on the track. You just never know. You know, Doug Roth right there, no fault of his. The car just got tight, went up into the turn, hit the wall. Steve just bad luck, pretty much. Wrong place, wrong time, a part of the track.
Absolutely. So he'll kind of shake it off and come back next weekend at the Pocono. We're not racing Pocono next weekend. We're racing Watkins Glen next week. So we'll be turning left and right it's still up in the northeast region of America, but different venues. So I mean, not too terribly different from Pocono. I mean, we've got a handful of different turns here. The speeds will be a little bit down, and they'll be turning right a little bit more, but the two tracks, believe it or not, favor each other quite a bit.
Absolutely, definitely a turn of you know, kind of different driving styles right there. Road course racing, uphill, down here, left, right, and so forth and so on. But yeah, they got to get past this one here, the Tricky Triangle on your right. I mean, what they've got here tonight, going into next week, it's awesome. But yeah, I was just looking through here, the cars out of the race: Jose Gonzalez, Anthony DeBarro, Mike Matesi, Joey Katina, Mike Kelly, Nick Silver, Tommy Ryan, Randy Yoakum, Dwayne Vincent, and Nick Timms, you know, all showing out of the race here already tonight. So we had about 39, 40 drivers start. We still have 30 out here on the running order. And, you know, some guys have had a pretty good night, some not so much.
Absolutely. You talked about a lot of those drivers inside that, or in that group that is disconnected or pulled behind the wall. A lot of those guys, you know, usually are favorites to win the race, and to see them having not so good nights is heartbreaking for a handful of them, like Jose Gonzalez, Anthony DeBarro, who has led the second most laps this season in that 27 behind the wall. Mike Montesi, Joey Jatina looking for a good run tonight. Not going to happen. And looks like Mitch Rolo going to maybe try the two-tire thing here at the Tricky Triangle.
Yeah. Ben and Mateo, I was noticing that. So we knew that was going to come. You know, somebody was going to try it. And I guess now he's probably thinking, now here's where this might bite him, and let's just play devil's advocate for a minute here. Everybody loves that. You just never know in racing what's going to happen. But here's where this might be a pretty good strategy if the race keeps going, and unfortunately if we get another caution, you know, soon off, maybe another 10 laps or so in, a caution flies. Great move here. Where this might bite him is if we finally get that long green flag run,
Yep.
this here might be the bad, but still would have enough time maybe to bounce back from it if that does happen.
Absolutely, and we've talked about his car washing up on the exit of turn 1. Maybe maybe his car is getting too tight for him. Maybe he thinks that taking 2 tires will help loosen that machine up. So that could also be the reasoning behind this 2-tire decision down on pit road.
We'll just have to see how it plays out for him here. You know, Nick Cohan, another one right there who took the 2 tires. Looks like the top 2 guys, Brian Wortman, Kevin Brown on pit road. So that's going to give the lead back to Mitch Rolo. It's just going to be interesting to see what they can do on those 2 tires. But you're right. You mentioned it right there, Ben. If he is feeling tight, 2 tires definitely will loosen that thing up for him. And, you know, I've never been a fan favorite of having a very loose machine. Some drivers, they say, hey, that's what they like. And the old saying is, you loose, you fast.
Absolutely, and he's got some company with that 2-tire decision. Nick Cohan going to be on the same strategy there in that orange number 21 machine. And Cohan's got a couple wrinkled fenders on that machine, but hey, gets him an opportunity to kind of gain some spots up in here, and now he's inside the top 5. So if it works for these guys, if they stay out here, they get a quickie yellow and another 3 or 4 laps, they can come down, get 4 tires, and keep that track position that they gained.
They will, and that's just the thing. You got to look and keep our eye here on Adam Gilliland, Justin Fuller, and Daniel Falk. The one thing that Mitch and Nick would love to see in the rearview mirror, Adam, Justin, and Daniel all battle for at least 4 or 5 or 6 laps. They could get out front there and get away. And again, we go back to that kind of neutralizing the tires over the run. If that happens, you know, we saw it earlier when those guys stayed out, and the backfield there about 6th, 7th, 8th on backs, you know, got 4 tires. It took them so long, you would think, oh, 4 tires, they're coming to the front very quickly. No, not necessarily. On a track like this where it's hard to pass, even though you got those new tires, after a while, those tires kind of have a fall off to them.
Absolutely, they certainly do. Well, under this caution, let's see if we can't talk to another one of the drivers inside the top 10. Hopefully his fate isn't the same as Steve's. But if it does happen, we'll apologize ahead of time. We'll see if we can't dial up the driver who now scored, I do believe, will be 5th on this restart. Daniel Falkingham, Ben Kilcrease up in the booth. You got a copy?
10-4.
Up from 24th to 5th, and it hasn't been easy, has it?
Absolutely not. Just it's just so hard to pass this package. I mean, so much dirty air and so much momentum you need to carry off the corners. If you don't time your moves right, you can't go anywhere. So we had a rough couple first few laps, but I will say I had a pretty nasty qualifying, and that's what put me back there. And yeah, it's not been easy, but luckily we've had some pit strategy go our way. Missed a couple big wrecks, and now we're managed to get up here, but got some more pit strategy up here, it looks like. So hopefully we try and navigate through these guys, and hopefully we can bring out a W here like we did back in the back last month. But it's going to be really hard because Adam's still competitive. He's up here. We got Justin up here. So many fast guys up here still. But yeah, I think we can still get this win. 35
laps to go, and looking for win number 7 of the season. How special would it be to pick that up tonight here at Pocono?
That'd be pretty cool. I mean, of course, it never gets boring when you're winning so much, but yeah, it'd be cool to try to sweep Pocono races. Pocono's one of my favorite tracks, so I mean, with this new package, it's made it a lot tougher to race and stuff. But so I still like the track. Pretty much anything we race here, so it'd be pretty cool if we can pick up another win here.
All right, we wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we'll talk to you here in a little bit. Good luck on the rest of this thing, Dan.
Thanks, Ben.
There you have it. Daniel Falkingham set for the restart, and sounds pretty confident, Joe, that he could get up there and have something for Gilliland and Rolo Fuller all up in the front of this field.
Well, he should be. He's got a very fast machine, and he's brought her from the back to the front. We'll see what he can do here on this restart. Pace car comes out of turn 3 here at Pocono. We're getting set to go back green flag. We'll take that hard left turn off on pit road. And these guys, man, drop the hammer. We're back racing here at the Tricky Triangle of Pocono.
Good restart for Adam Gilliland from third on the inside. He's going to make it 3 wide for the lead as they race down into turn number 1. Rolo can't do anything. He can try and pinch him down. He can't block him. It's too late now as they're side by side for the lead.
Yeah, and right there, new tires versus old. We were just talking about it there. Could he make it through the front? They would have loved to see him back there battling, but Mitch Rolo to the front. They're still 3 wide behind him.
Rolo does have the field cleared, believe it or not. They're 3 wide for second as they go through the tunnel turn. Got to be careful. It's going to be tight here. Gilliland clears Fuller. Now Fuller, a crossover move off of the tunnel turn through the short chute. Now down to turn 3. Rolo has some breathing room as they go side by side behind.
They do, and I tell you, Mitch is loving everything he's seeing in his rearview mirror, but Adam, he's got clear of it. Justin's right there on his back deck lid. Here comes Daniel on the inside. Nick Cohan is falling back. He has a sinking ship right now on those older tires, and he knows that he's in trouble, but he's just trying to hold on to the momentum. Something might happen for him. Daniel to the inside is going to take that spot away from him up to 4th.
It's the waiting game here for these guys on old tires or older left side tires here in the field. There's some contact there off turn 1 between Coleman and O'Rourke. Close call there, but here comes Adam Gilliland making a challenge for the lead. Down into the tunnel turn, they're side by side.
Adam won't be denied. He has been fast all night long. He blows right past Mitch like he's sitting down. And whoa. I tell you what a save right there from Justin Fuller. He had that thing all kind of almost wrecked.
I'd say he wrecked there. We just didn't have a caution. That's what that was. Completely sideways for the 51. Loses a little bit of momentum. Not a lot, though. He holds on to 4th now. Here as they run down the front straightaway. Daniel Falkingham, the highest he's been all race. He's up to P2.
And he is looking to try to run down Adam Gilliland. Right now, Daniel Falkingham is on a move in the 39 machine. He takes over the second place spot. Mitch Rolo is going to fall to 4th as he's got Justin Fuller to his inside. Nick Cohan. Now Nick Cohan is still clawing and scratching his way and hanging on to the 5th place spot.
Got to give it to them for trying, but just doesn't seem like the 2 tires really working out for those 2 drivers. Here's the run progresses, working lap 48 now, closing in on 30 to go here at the Tricky Triangle. It's getting closer and closer to crunch time, closer and closer to the finish of this thing. If you're not where you want to be, you need to get there now.
Absolutely, and I always say business is about to pick up. Run what you brung here. The number 9 closes the door on E.J. O'Rourke back in the 7th place spot right there. Almost clipped his nose off. Had a little bit of contact there earlier on, so some heavy racing going on back here and amongst the top 10.
And look who's also mixing it up back here. Haven't talked about him all night. He's missed a couple of big wrecks. That's the big cat Chad Cole trying to work his way into the top 10. Hasn't had the fastest car tonight. Qualified 27th, or actually didn't even qualify. Started 27th and has found himself up and almost into the top 10. Don't count the 82 out late in the run here as the run progresses. He's learning this track slowly but surely. Now he's looking to make a move on the 28 of Johnston as they're 3 wide in front of him.
Yes, it is. Chad Coleman right there going to get tight coming in that turn. The 9 almost slid up the track. Chad Coleman's going to make that pass for the moment. Coming out of turn 3 down the long straightaway here. Who's going to get it heading off into 1? They'll still go door to door.
Great racing. That's for the 7th position. Standish has it now, holding off Chad Coleman for the time being, and he's got O'Rourke all over the rear bumper of that 09. Here comes Coleman, trying to work the bottom side of the racetrack. Can't quite do it there. He'll slide back, as does the 82 of Coleman. The bottom just not working as the tires wear off.
It is, as they head off down into turn number 2 right there. Chad Coleman still hanging on in the 9th place spot. Timothy Johnston, another man we haven't really mentioned much of tonight, but he's cracked the top 10 right now, sitting right there in the 10th place spot, right in front of Chad Cole, as you mentioned it earlier. Shane Ewing right there hanging on the 12th. And I know Mom's out there waving and saying hi because she's loving what she's seeing right now as he's up to 12th place. Everybody single file as they head past the line down the straightaway.
Some great racing, and just outside the top 10 there's Scott Simley in that 12. He has been a part of a couple incidents tonight and has worked his way back up to 13th. So a good rebound there for Simley as he battles with Jeff Sharp in that 57. Chris Jabou right behind them in the 5 machine, rounding out the top 15. As, boy, these guys all tail to nose, providing some great action here from about 5th all the way back to 15th.
Absolutely, and single file is about what they want to do. Right now it's probably in a kind of a cool down period. We do have 30 to go here. And, like you said earlier, now's the time to see. You got to get what you can get into position, start thinking about what you want to do, but it's still hard to pass here. It's as the tires wear off, as the laps wind on and wind down, it is just, you just cannot make up ground. It is frustrating as a driver to sit there and know, I got a fast machine, I just can't make up anything.
Absolutely, and really you have to be patient with these tires and with these machines. You have to wait for the moment where the tires start to fade away, where you can make a move and make it easy. And like you said, you're fast, you have a top 5 car, but you may be sitting 9th, and that's really frustrating. But that's where patience is going to overcome and maybe be the deciding factor of who goes where at the end of this run. How about Justin Fuller and Daniel Falkingham? They're kind of working together. So it looks like almost the old tandem drafting we had at Daytona and Talladega there for a couple of years. They have worked their way almost to the bumper of Adam Gilliland for the lead.
Been watching the lap times here the past several laps. They're about a tenth and a half faster than the leader, Adam, out front. And you're right there. They are just that drafting style that they're doing. Justin Fuller's tucking it up under the back tail gate right there of the man of Daniel Falkingham. And he is trying to push him around this track the best he can. And Daniel is closing in. Now it'll be all the old saying, catching and passing is two different things. If they catch him, can they get around Adam? He's going to make that car very wide and try to keep that lead if they do.
Absolutely. Speaking of passing, we'll see if Justin Fuller can get around the 39. Falkingham gives it to him there. No contest as Falkingham, the veteran move there, decides that Fuller a little bit faster at this point of the run. He's going to see if he can run down Gilliland and maybe help wear Gilliland's stuff out a little bit quicker and allow Falkingham to close back on the two of those drivers. Nelson Rivera sits 4th, having a good run in that number 22, just in a zip code of his own right now, as he's got Mitch Rollo a couple car lengths behind them, then the Cohan and Standish and O'Rourke, Coleman, Johnston, Cole battle going on back here from 6th on back. They are tail to nose, and they are in a wad heading down to 1.
They are. Been watching this battle here about a lap or so up front. Those guys been kind of spread out, but these guys back here are beating and banging on each other as they are mixing it up for about the 7th on back spot. E.J. O'Rourke's got Chad Cole, who has just cracked the top 10, sitting in the 10th place. He's looking for 9th right there, but he lost a little momentum. Timothy Johnson's going to battle back on the outside of him.
So hard to make the pass down low. Oh, Coleman trying to slide in front of the 28, and he does. Oh, there's been a car in the wall. Was that Justin Fuller?
Yes, it was. Wow. We need to go back on the replay because he was up front. Let's go back and watch and see what happened to Justin Fuller. He was in 2nd. Oh, the car just got tight out of the turn, hit the wall. Next thing you know, bounces off. Ouch. Day done.
Wow.
Just like that. Watch it one more time here. Going into turn 2, the car just shot up the track. Yeah, coming out of turn 2, got tight, bumps the wall, bounced off of it. And then it's almost like it locked up or something and just did a hard left turn into the inside wall, tore the car all up. So, wow, what a turn of events for one of the fastest drivers out here tonight.
Wow. So Fuller not going to win tonight. And we talk about that locking up to the left there. That was a weird instance. That's certainly not what caused him getting up into the wall, but I think maybe he just unplugged his wheel or something there with what it looked like, Joe,
Yeah.
and that car turned left or something, maybe out of frustration. Nonetheless, though, Fuller, his night is done. You're at the
because it
Pocono
looked
Raceway.
like for the moment there, Ben, he might have had that thing saved. It wasn't really a hard contact on the wall. It just looked like he kind of ricocheted off a little bit, and he was going to have enough room to maybe kind of get it back straight. I didn't see the car, but then all of a sudden, like you said, maybe just out of frustration, maybe the wheel locked on him, something. Anything can happen. Well, folks, we're in a virtual world. There's some things we can't control. Mother Nature always say power outages and things like that. Anything can happen. So, yeah, kind of strange that it shot to the left like it did, because he kind of looked like he might have been able to save it. But fortunately, night's done.
Absolutely. This is a big saver for Mitch Rollo, Nick Cohan. They are scored 4th and 5th. They'll come down, get 4 fresh tires, and now they'll get to keep that track position. So maybe not too bad of a call on the 2 tires there. Certainly don't want to do it at the end of the race when the win is on the line. But now we know that it does work, so keep that in the notebook for next time we head to Pocono.
You know, and I mentioned it earlier, if the caution was to fly within about 10 or 15 laps of them being out there, it could benefit them. It fell, and it worked out beautifully for them. Nick Cohan and Mitch right there. So now they're back on the same cycle with everyone. They've got 4 tires and fuel. They're going to get back out there. Man, it was a heavy race, and it looks like Daniel's going to win the battle on pit road.
That may be the winning move of the race for Daniel Falkingham right there. That may have done it for him. We'll keep an eye on that, and we'll see how this run progresses after we take the green here at Pocono. But we know how hard it is to pass, Joe, and that's what you need to do. If you can't pick them up under green, pick them up under caution, and that's exactly what Falkingham did right there, winning the race off pit road for the driver to 39.
He did. If this thing can go green. Now, let's just kind of step back here. Again, we love throwing our scenarios out here. What we've seen so far is it seems to be about 14, 15 laps. Well, caution has flown. So, we're going to have about 21 laps to go when we go back green. Could we see a green-white checkered on this?
I'm not throwing it out of the question. We could see a couple more cautions fly in this one. We hope it goes green, but you never know with these guys tonight. It's kind of been of a getting a rhythm kind of deal, and then they kind of just end up losing a little bit of grip here and there and putting us under caution. We had a couple cautions back to back, but for the most part, we've been able to get a handful of laps in between each caution. That one was the longest run of the night, other than the initial run. So, it's been a weird race here at Pocono, to say the least.
I'm gonna throw the other scenario out here. If it does go green the rest of the way, can they go the whole entire distance? We've not seen any drivers go past 20 laps here tonight.
Yeah, I think they should be good for 20. I want to say back to the spring race, it was 26, 28 laps here at Pocono. So I think we'll be good on fuel. But then what happens if we get to the end of this thing and the caution flies and we end up with a green-white checkered.
So many scenarios. I mean, I'll tell you. And you know what? Let's touch on that just a minute. I used to always say 5 or less. If a caution flies, the race is over in iRacing. I threw that out the book because now with the implementing of the green-white checkered, it has made for some exciting finishes here on iRacing and throughout the board. It is so unpredictable. And now, used to, in a situation like this, Ben, we're talking about pit stops and pit strategies. In a situation like this, you kept that in the back of your mind. Hey, this race could go, and with 5 to go, if a caution flies, I'm okay. Now you've got to think about, wait a minute, if it goes green-white, do I still got enough to make it? If I'm close to the end, what if we get 2 green-whites? That's another extra 3, about 6 more laps added on.
Absolutely. So all that's just up in the air, and we do have the scenario that if we have a caution, we go green with, say, 4 to go, and we have another green-white checkered, and you have some guys stay out, some guys stay in, and it's just endless. But the only thing we do know that's going to happen at the end of this race is we're going to get a checkered flag, and if we do get a green-white checkered, only 1 attempt here in Sim500 competition.
Okay, well then good, and that's another thing they keep it in mind. I know some, that's obviously league-based, definitely how they want to do it. They can do unlimited or 1. That's good to give them 1 attempt at it. Either way, it's going to be exciting. Fasten up the seatbelts, folks. I'm going to tell you what, if your hair ain't standing up on it, because this has been awesome, exciting racing here tonight for the Sim500 Transervice here at Pocono Raceway.
It certainly has, and we're looking to finish this one off here. It'll be 22 laps to go when we get the green flag. Usually, I consider 20 to go crunch time. It's a bigger track, though, here at Pocono. I'll say around 15 laps is going to be crunch time here. 15 to go at the tricky triangle. So just kind of restack the top 10 for you. Falkingham going to lead the field back to the green flag. It's going to be Adam Gilliland to his outside, restarting second. Then it's Nelson Rivera, Nick Coham making up row number 2. Rolo Coleman on row 3. Row 4 is Standish and Chad Cole. And then row 5, going to be E.J. O'Rourke and Timothy Johnson. That rounds out the top 10 as anything is possible here in the final 22 laps. Daniel Falkingham started this race in 24th, and he's about to lead his first green flag of the night. How about that for an accomplishment?
That is a hard charger right there, and a heck of an achievement here tonight as he's going to bring this field to the green here at Pocono. You're right, that is going to be awesome. He is looking to bring it into victory lane, but he's got several laps and a lot of hungry drivers behind him. Pace cars out of turn 3, drops off on pit road. He'll drop the hammer, make it loud here as we're back green at Pocono.
Back racing, good restart for Falkingham on the inside there. He'll try and beat the 81 to turn 1, try and get the whole shot off the turn like they say in motocross racing, and look at Gilliland right down to the bottom, trying to get every whiff of draft he can as they race down into turn 1. It's Falkingham, and now here comes Rivera looking to the inside of that 81 of Gilliland. A close call there as Rivera slides up the racetrack.
Yes, he did. Nick Nelson's going to take the third place spot, and I tell you, Daniel right there did something that was he needed to do. He protected the inside lane because he saw what Adam was going to do, try to shotgun down on the inside going into turn 1. He slammed the door on him, wasn't able to do it. Right now, they're nose to tail coming out of the turn. Here comes Nick Cohan. Do not count that man out. He's got 4 fresh tires and a bad, fast number 21 machine.
And he really likes this Pocono Raceway. And he is trying everything he can to get up on a podium, maybe even get a win tonight. He's just one spot away from a podium finish now as he battles with Rivera for that third spot. He's got a mirror full, though, of Mitch Rollo. Here comes Rollo, the defending champion, to try and get 4th away.
He does. Into turn 1, they'll go door to door here. He's going to try to follow Nelson Rivera right there. They're almost made contact out of turn 2, but the momentum, they got to give it to Nick. Coming out of 2, they'll go back, single file. Oh, we got a big wreck in the back.
Crashing behind, and it looked like a couple of beat-up cars involved in that one. Justin Fuller may have been one of those, and he was.
Ooh, I know John Whitco was one of them, but let's go up here to Justin Fuller. Oh, yeah, he was in the start of it here. Let's see exactly what might have happened here on the replay. It's a close-up. These guys back here were fanning around a little bit. They're headed off into turn number 1. It's like one of the lap cars is in front. I don't know who that was spinning in front. Yeah, just
Steve
a check
Herring.
up there. Steve Herring.
Yeah,
It
Steve
like
Herring
Steve
got
was
loose.
there. And Justin just had to check up. Nowhere to go.
So a bad break. The bad night goes to worse for the 51 and the 42 there of Comstock, getting another piece of the incident there. And boy, a handful of other cars coming in afterwards and getting a piece of it as well, putting us under caution yet again here at the Tricky Triangle. Boy, it has been a wild one here, and we called it weird earlier, and this has just been a weird race.
Well, here's the thing, all right, crew chief, what do? We've been out here for 5 laps. We know we can make it all the way. If this is the point, this is probably the part of the race where I would not want to be the leader of the race, because whatever he does, somebody's going to do different, and a lot of people might do the same. But then again, if he doesn't do it, and he could be a sitting duck. It's just one of those where it's like, I don't know.
Absolutely. That was 2 green flag laps there on the tires. So we've seen a lap and a half on the tires go from pretty much hero to outside the top 10.
Yeah.
But at this stage in the race, which is more important, track position or losing a couple spots and maybe trying to catch another caution, although there is a chance that the race may go green from here on out too. So we're about to find out what's going to happen. Who's going to play the gamble game? It's going to be Falkingham leading us on the pit road. And, some mixed emotions there. Looks like a local short track there, Joe, and they set the cone up on the front straightaway, inside or outside, everybody swerving around the pit road wall.
I was seeing it. Adam thought about it for a minute or two, but again, looks like about 8 machines there, 9 cars stayed out on this one. We talked about that. We seen it earlier in the race, and we mentioned it. This actually might be a pretty good move if this thing goes green here, because Adam might have made You know, we talked about earlier, Daniel probably had the pit stop of the race. Well, this might be the move of the race because we saw it play out. And Mitch Rollo, for that matter, right there, and Chad Cole. So any of those guys, it could have been the move for the the win here tonight, because those guys with new tires are going to have their work cut out for them coming through the field in a short amount of time.
Absolutely. We'll restart this thing. Round 15 to go. So, you know, if this thing goes green, that's 15 green laps. If we have 2 more cautions, then you cut it down to 7 or 8 green flag laps between now and the finish of this race. So they've got to keep that in mind, Joe. Also, they got to keep in mind that, you know, if this thing does go green, you have to save a little bit of tire, because 15 laps around the Pocono Raceway is a pretty good little distance, and the tires will certainly wear over that amount of time. So, I mean, it's just, as a driver, this is one of the most stressful points in the race right now.
It is, and I just mentioned earlier something about I would not want to be the leader, because I said whatever he does, there's going to be somebody do differently, and then whatever he does, there's going to be a lot of people do the same thing. Definitely, and that is the hard choice as being the leader. And right now, I know he's probably going, maybe I should have stayed out, but this thing might play out and play into his favor.
Absolutely. We'll keep an eye on those drivers that took the fresh tires. Boy, you had to catch my breath there, because this thing's going to get wild. As we're getting set to restart this thing. It's going to be Gilliland out in front. Then Rollo will be second. Third will be Chad Cole. Chad Coleman fourth. Then Nigel Standish, Shane Ewing, Chris Jabou, Robert Gillenwater, Doy Woods, and Nick Cohan will be the first car. I do believe he took 2, as did Nelson Rivera, and then Daniel Falkingham going to lead the rest on 4.
The Nick tries the 2-tire strategy again here. Nelson Rivera does. I really see how that plays out, because they're going to still be back there in 10th place and so far back. It might pay off for him. I don't want to say no, but never know what happens here. If you get a quick caution early on, definitely could help them out. A lot of guys in the top 10 we haven't seen in the top 10 all night long due to just staying out right here. It could give them the finish. You know, we mentioned it earlier. You know, somebody's going to have to do something drastic. This is probably doing something drastic here in order to come away with either a win or a good finish here tonight. If your Mard was back in 20th some position, 15, 18th on back, why not? Hey, if this gets you a top 10, it's a good move of the race.
Absolutely, and you mentioned a lot of those guys up here. We haven't talked about them. 8 of the top 10 drivers, Joe, started outside the top 8. 5 of those started outside the top 15.
Wow. Yeah, so there you go. I mean, that's again, you know, we talked about Chad Cole. He's definitely up there too. Shane Ewing, another one up there sitting in 6th. Chris Jabou, Robert right there, Doey Woods. So all those guys, they can come out of here with a good finish. I know we're talking about Adam and Mitch up there. They've been fast all night long, battling out for the lead. But don't count a lot of those other drivers out behind them there. They definitely want to, you mentioned it. It's getting down here to crunch time, getting near the chase, so every point matters here tonight.
That it does. As we turn the lights off, we'll restart this thing with 16 laps to go at the Pocono Raceway, so just buckle up. It's certainly right at the crunch time area of the race, or time of the race, and boy, it's going to be exciting here as Gilliland and Rollo, they're going to battle it out for the lead. Chad Cole now going to be up in the mix as well. Don't count, we told you not to count the 82 out if it come down to a late race restart, and he's up inside the top 5. Chad Coleman, who has had a great run all night at 20, and Nigel Standish, he's just been there in the 09. He's been in and out of the top 10 all race long, but he has finally found himself up and inside the top 5, looking to, you know, advance his position a little bit more, maybe even climb up and onto the podium here at Pocono. So we'll keep an eye on everybody who's on fresh tires, those that aren't, and boy, it's just going to be a heck of a race here coming up. Yeah,
and you mentioned it, Daniel Falkingham back there in 12th. He has definitely, you know, marred traffic. He has to have the mentality, I got to be aggressive, but I still got to be patient and careful, because it's still got a long way to go, a lot of cars to pass. It's still going to be tight here to get it done. He knows he's got a fast machine. You can get in trouble real quick here, in a real hurry here at Pocono.
That you can. So here we go, set for the restart, as this is going to be an exciting one coming up. It's going to be Gilliland on the inside. He's looking for win number 6 tonight. Rollo looking for win number 1 of the season. He's hungry for a win, wants it to come tonight here at Pocono Raceway. He's also one of the drivers in the Dash for Cash, sponsored by English Auto. So here we go. Green flag back in the air. Gilliland gets a good jump on the rest of the field, and they'll go side by side for third as Rollo tries to draft the 81 to turn 1.
Yes, it is, and you already see them fanning out 3 wide back in the back there. But up front, they're still side by side as Adam takes it to the point. Here comes Mitch Rollo behind him. Chad Coleman to the outside there. Chad Cole. They'll go door to door battling out of turn 2. They are fanning out still 2 wide in the back all the way back to 10th on back.
Boy, Chad Cole going to lose a handful of spots there. Just couldn't get off of turn 1 like he needed to. That allowed Coleman to get up to 3rd. Ewing to get up to the 4th spot, and now Coleman's got a handful for 5th as they are all over the back bumper of that 82. Here comes Nick Cohan, one of the first drivers on 2 fresh tires, trying to work his way through the field.
Yeah, and Daniel Falkingham has moved to 10th place spot. He is knocking them down and putting them up right now. He is on the back bumper of the 5 of Chris Jabou. Looking to the inside, he is utilizing those 4 tires to his advantage, and he knows time is running out. He's got to get to the front. If not, those leaders are going to walk away into the sunset. But Adam Gillian right now holds the top spot along with Mitch Rollo. It is a good single-file train right here at Pocono so far.
That it is, as Falkingham gets to the inside of Jabou, looking to get that 8th position away from the 5 machine down Long Pond straightaway and into the tunnel turn. They're side by side for P8, looking for a couple more spots. As at 39, he'll grab that position there as Cohan battles with Chad Cole just in front.
Yes, it is. Right behind them, Chris Jabou, he falls back to 9th. Daniel still up to the 8th place spot. He's going to work over the 7th place man there of Nigel, as he's going to look to be able to take that spot away. He's going to see if he can't take away Chad Cole. Chad Cole falls back to 6th. Nick Cohan up to 5th. Shane Ewing, well, I'll tell you what a run for him right now, sitting in the 4th place spot.
Great runs by a handful of these drivers up inside the top 10, and for a lot of them it would be a great if they could just finish out the race right now. But we've still got about 13 and a half laps here at the Pocono Raceway before we settle who's going to finish where. And out in front, it's Adam Gilliland. Out in front of the field, Rollo sits 2nd. Coleman starting to close in on that 96 over the past couple of laps. We'll see if a battle sort of develops there as Falkingham trying to lead the march of the fresh tires to the front of the field. He's mixed up in a battle there just inside the top 7. Falkingham is up to the 7th position, trying to get the 6th position away from Chad Cole. He'll have a run down the front stretch.
Yes, he will. He's right there. He's going to tuck along backside of him and see if he can't take the draft. It's just right there near the Chad Cole. Behind him, though, you got Chris Jabou, Nigel, E.J. O'Rourke in the mix as all these guys are battling it out. Daniel has been able to move his way up to the 7th place spot. But the man out front, Adam Gillian, who has led a big portion of this race here tonight, out front looking very well. Mitch Rollo's trying to see if he can't run him down, though, and maybe try to set him up for a late race pass here for the win.
We'll see if that happens again. Gilliland looking for win number 6 of the season. Rollo looking for win number 1, as is Chad Coleman there in that number 20 machine. I'm sorry, Chad Coleman will be looking for win number 2. He won back at Daytona. So these guys up in the top 5. Some of them have wins this season. Some of them do not. The 2 that do not, Shane Ewing, Mitch Rollo. So they're hungry for a win here tonight at Pocono.
In the top 3, Adam Gillian, Mitch Rollo, Chad Coleman. Right now kind of separated a little bit. You got Shane Ewing right there in the 4th place, but he's got Nick Cohan clawing all over his back tailgate right here, and Daniel Falkingham on the charge and the move to the front. He's up to 6. So those 3 cars right there are about to be nose to tail here shortly.
That they are. Cohan also one of those drivers looking for a win this season. I don't think it's going to come tonight, though, because he's about to be eat up by that 39. Falkingham on a roll, and he rolls to the rear bumper of the 21 down in turn number 3. Cohan gets a run on Ewing down the front straightaway. So here we go. Battle for the 4th position just in front of them. And while that happens, Cohan trying to fend off Falkingham as well for P5.
I got to give a hats off, though, to Nick right there, though. He took 2 tires, and the 2 tires is working for him right here. Could have been disastrous. He could be way back in the back of the field. Even though he might say, I might not win, it is a good points night for me if I can come out of here in the top 10. He is battling along side by side with Daniel right there. He's got those 4 tires and a fast hot rod, trying to see if he can't get around Shane Ewing. And Ewing right there slams the door on him, though, and the team holds him up. The guys who was loving this, though, is Adam, Mitch, and Chad. They are wanting them to hold Daniel up as much as they can.
Absolutely. What about a move down in turn 1 from Falkingham? Got to the outside of the 21, was able to keep the momentum up around the outside of the racetrack, and now he's looking to the outside of the 32, but he'll swing down to the inside. Here comes Falkingham, looking for P4 now for that 39 machine. He's made his way through the field once tonight from the 24th starting position. Started 12th on this most recent restart, and now he's almost up and into the top 3. He'll get 4th, maybe no. Ewing gonna fight back on the outside.
And time is running out. It is not on his side. I'm looking at the lap times. He is going to have to pick the pace up. And again, Adam is loving everything he is seeing right now because Shane Ewing is fighting for his life to stay in the top 5 and in 4th place right there, and has held off a hard-charging Daniel Falkingham and Nick Cohan crawling all over the back bumper of that machine there. So Daniel might have used a lot of tire to get to the front. I mentioned it. After a while, those tires kind of neutralize. We are going to have less than 10 to go here at Pocono.
It'll be 9 this time by, and Falkingham, you mentioned it, running out of time in that 39. He sits P5 right now, and he's about 20 or 25 car lengths off the leader. To give you a second sort of margin there, that's 2.3 seconds back to Daniel Falkingham from Adam Gilliland, and Falkingham really not making up a lot of ground now, so maybe he has sort of signed his fate here with the 4 fresh tires. He's signed it off, and he is maybe going to make it into the top 3 before the end of this thing, but I don't think he's going to have a chance to run down Gilliland out in front.
Only thing, it might be a saving grace to him if a caution flies here between to the end and he gets a green-white checkered and closes that door up and he gets one more shot at the leaders. But as of right now, you're right, he has fallen off the pace, and that's just tire wear right there. There's nothing he can do about it. He has a fast machine. The problem is after a while, those tires just will not do what they did earlier on in the run.
And if he does not make this pass on Ewing right here, he better just hang it up. He's got to get clear of the 32, and he can't clear him off of turn 1. He gets close right there. They'll drag race down into the tunnel turn. This is his moment right here. He's got to pick these cars off. He's got to do it quick. He can't get held up on any of these in front of him over the next handful of laps, Joe, or he's just going to be too far too gone away from the lead. He finally clears the 32 there.
And you're right there, too. And what that does, that side-by-side racing, it utilizes his tires. Now, what he wants to see is what he's seeing in front of him right now. Mitch Rollo, Chad Coleman will go door to door. He would love to see those guys sit there door to door for a while, instead of let him be able to climb up on the back end. But in the meantime, Adam Gillian is going to pull away. He's got a 1.5-second lead and 7 laps to get this thing done tonight.
The two battling beside each other behind Adam Gilliland, lost 3/4 of a second to the 81. That lap alone, just from the side-by-side action, Rollo clears the 20 off of turn number 1, and here comes Falkingham trying to close up on their rear bumpers, but he'll only have 6 laps this time by at the flag stand to close in on leader Adam Gilliland, and I don't think that he's just going to have enough time.
Like I said, the time ran out, the tires ran out here. Adam out front leading it, Mitch right there in second. He held off a hard charge from Chad Coleman. But Daniel, he has done an outstanding job all night long. Like you said, he had came from way far back in the pack here. Just kind of, I said it before, he was the leader. And whatever he done, somebody was definitely going to do the opposite. And he went in, took the gamble. He was able to get back to fourth. Just time not on his side. If he had another maybe 15, 20 laps, might be different. But right now, he's only got 5 or 6 to go here tonight.
Absolutely. 2.1 back from leader Gilliland, and he hasn't closed much at all over the past couple of laps. This time by, it'll be 5 more circuits around the Pocono Raceway for Adam Gilliland. A battle heats up for a spot inside the top 5. Cohan wants to make the top 5 here at the end of this one. He's battling Shane Ewing. There's O'Rourke and Chad Cole all in the mix there as well.
Yes, it is. That is a madhouse going on back there. Nick Cohan, E.J. O'Rourke, Chad Cole, Timothy Johnson in the mix there along with them with Shane Ewing. Those guys are bunched up here getting to the end of it, and that's a good battle going on as Nick Cohan with those 2 tires. Again, he could have been marred way back in traffic, but he's definitely looking at the points picture here tonight.
Absolutely. Cohan looking for a spot inside the top 5. Don't think he'll be able to get there, though, with that move on the inside. He loses a spot to O'Rourke. Now O'Rourke climbs to 6th, and Shane Ewing trying to get up and into the Shane Ewing trying to fend off the 41 rather and stay inside that top 5.
Well, Chad Coleman right there almost slipped up and had that car came out from up under him. That allowed Daniel Falkenham to jump up to the 3rd place spot. I don't know unless Mitch Rollo makes a mistake. Again, you got to remember, they're on a little bit older tires. We have not seen anybody, we've not seen any drivers tonight take these tires to the 20-lap mark. So this is kind of unfamiliar territory on the handling of these machines. Can Adam Gilliland bring this thing to the checkered flag? I mean, you got to think about it here, Ben. He's got to be smooth, but he doesn't know what their car is going to do now with 21 laps on the tires.
Absolutely. So we'll keep that in mind as we close in on the checkered flag here tonight. Just 3.5 laps to go for leader Adam Gilliland, looking to tie Daniel Falkingham for the most wins this season, put both of them at 6. And that is over half of the wins so far this season, just amongst those 2 drivers alone. That is some great stats there if you're one of those drivers. Falkingham doing everything he can to get that P2 spot away from Rollo, but Rollo's not going to give it up easily. Trying to fend him off here in the final 3 laps now here at Pocono.
Yes, it is. I mean, he's going to have one car to get around. Mitch Rollo right there. Daniel still watching this battle back here. They're kind of all single file. E.J. O'Rourke peeks to the inside of Shane right there for the moment. Going to look to see if he can't take the spot away. Looking at the lap times here real quick. Looks like Daniel, he's about 2/10, maybe 1/10.5 faster than Adam. He is gaining on him. I'm just seeing if those tires fall off is happening. I mean, he's going to have to fall off a lot more than that for him to be able to move up, or caution flies. Definitely send us in a green-white, but you know and I know, Ben, white flag flies, doesn't matter what happens at that point.
Absolutely. The checkered flag or the caution, whichever one it may be, would end the race, and we're inching closer and closer to that each lap. Now 2 to go. Popsicle sticks at the flag stand for the driver of the 81 machine. He's just got 1 more lap to secure a finish here at Pocono Raceway. 2 more to win.
Yes, it does. And still watching this battle, Nick Cohan right there is fighting for his life on those 2 tires amongst all those 4-tire gentlemen. He is trying to stay in the top 10 here, but he's got Timothy Johnson, Nigel back there, and Chad Cole, E.J. O'Rourke and company. But he is doing a phenomenal job here of hanging on to it to try to stay in the top 10 and come out of here with a very good finish.
That he is, and these guys, they're mixing it up pretty good back here. They've got 2 more turns if they're going to wad it up and cause a caution, or else the race is going to be over. They almost did it there as Johnston got up and into the wall. Close call there, and if you're Gilliland, you don't want to hear that. Meanwhile, Falkingham going to get around the 96 for the runner-up spot. Final lap for Adam Gilliland. White flag in the air.
Whoa, Chad Cole right there is going to try to take the 3rd place away from Mitch Rollo. Mitch tried to slam the door, couldn't get it done. That's going to be your battle, but you're right. White flag one more time here. Transervice Cup Series Sim500. The battle's on for 3rd. Look at them trading paint.
Getting close down in 1. And Rollo with the run off the corner. He may have sealed the deal. They're crashing behind. A big crash on the Long Pond straightaway. Johnston is involved. Standish involved. Rivera gets a piece of it. We stay green and we'll race it all the way to the checkered flag.
Wow, man, contact back in the back and a huge pile up at your right. No caution because the white flag is flown at a turn number 3 for the final time. Adam Gillian will win this thing. All he'll have to do is let it coast across the line. Here comes Daniel Falkenham up in the second. Mitch Rollo will hang on the third. What a finish to this one. And I tell you, it went green to the end like we were talking about. So unfamiliar territory on the tire wear there, but Adam Gillian, that man had the fastest machine all night long.
Absolutely, and he shows it with the win here tonight at Pocono, his 6th win of the season. That ties him with that driver right there. Give him a congratulatory bump, Daniel Falkingham. 12 wins between the top 2 drivers. How about that? And how about E.J. O'Rourke holding on to get a top 5 tonight here at the Tricky Triangle as well?
Man, I tell you what an exciting finish to this one here at Pocono. Brings about some awesome racing. You're right, top 5, and Nick Cohan and Shane Ewing right there, 6th and 7th. Chad Cole up to 8. Scott Simley, I said the man was smiley. He's smiling right now. Got him a 9th place, and Chris Jabou up to 10th. What a finish to this one here. Wow. Well, I'm going to tell you, like I said, catch a breath there, Ben, because this race pretty much had about everything in it that you could imagine. Some strategy, some caution, some awesome passing, great racing throughout the whole entire field.
Certainly was, and we're going to get a chance to talk to the top 3 here in just a minute as Gilliland going to burn them down on the front straightaway here. Look out, almost into the safer barrier, but it's okay. The race is over now. Gilliland excited for another win, his 6th of the season here in the Transervice Cup Series. We'll chat with him, Falkingham, and Rollo in just a minute, but we're going to catch our breaths up here in the booth. You'll watch the victory celebration down on the front stretch while we get these drivers lined up.
All right, folks, I tell you what, man, right there, what an exciting finish to this one. Well, we got some drivers up here. Third place man here, Mitch Rollo. Bring him up here and get a word in with him here. Mitch, Joe at the booth, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Joe.
Man, I tell you what, you had a bad, fast hot rod here all night long. Just right there, the tire wear just did not play in your favor. Daniel was able to get around. Is there anything you could have done different in this race to maybe get up there and put it in victory lane?
I don't know. I think Gilliland kind of had everything covered tonight as far as speed. You know, he was class of the field right from the get-go. So, you know, it was a good run for the 96 car tonight, and first race for the Dash for Cash, and so we got a good start there. Led a few laps, and next couple of races we'll just focus on finishing top 3 and see if we can't win some money there. Race 4.
Hey, no doubt about it. Well, definitely nothing to hang your hat on. You were up there all night long, battled back from almost, pure disaster on a pit stop earlier on, but was able to overcome that, get back up here, get the third. Anybody you want to shout out?
Yeah, definitely Sim Speed Shop for coming on board the 96 Mustang this year. Definitely awesome to have them on board for all your button box needs and everything else. You know, they got lots of cool stuff. Go over to simspeedshop.com and Crossover Incorporated, Transervice Logistics for being the series sponsor here for the Sim500 Cup Series. My girlfriend for watching every week, and you guys at the Sim Racing Network. Joe, I especially appreciate you jumping in the broadcast booth with us tonight, as if you wouldn't have, I would have had to, so I wouldn't have been able to come up here and talk to you guys after the race. So I definitely appreciate you coming in here and bailing us out here today.
Hey, no doubt about it, man. I tell you what, it was fun to watch, an exciting race here tonight. Again, congratulations on that third place there, Mitch.
Appreciate it. Thanks, man.
All right, tell you what, Ben, man, right there, guy, definitely loving it. Had a fast machine, but another one here tonight, hard charger, Daniel Falkingham.
Absolutely. Falkingham comes from 24th all the way up to P2, and I understand you've caught up with him now, Joe.
Well, Daniel, Joe White in the booth, you got a copy?
10-4.
Well, I'll tell you what, take you a drink, man. You probably the hard charger of the ward here tonight. You have come from the front, from the back to the front. You had to do it almost twice here tonight. And then there at the last thing, is there anything on that last stop you would have done? I said before, I would have hated to have been the leader, but do you regret going into the pit stop there on that last stop?
Honestly, not really, because I knew how much tires meant, especially at this track with this package, because, like, pretty much with all this downforce, the car being stuck to the ground, all 4 tires pretty much almost are winning at the same time, it seems like. So, I decided to get the tires. I mean, even if I stayed out, I think Adam was going to get by me, because he almost got by me when the final yellow came out. So, and once he got by me, it was going to be game over anyway. So, I tried to pull off the same strategy I did back last time we were here, try to have better tires and try to run them down that way, but that was from under green flag stops. This time I had to pass so many cars at once. So, yeah, it was, I mean, it was difficult. I was gaining on him, even in traffic, so if I didn't get stalled out by any cars, I think I could have caught him, but I got stalled out twice. But, I could have probably passed all the cars, but once I got to Adam, I think it was going to be tougher, because granted, he's in clean air, but I got the fresher tires, but still it's going to be tough to pass because he had the clean air, whereas I didn't. I might have had better grip through the corners, but it still wasn't pretty tough to pass him. But hey, after starting 24th, I mean, I kind of come from the back like almost 3 or 4 times with all the different tire strategies and stuff. So, and we had to miss a couple big ones too. So, yeah, I'll definitely take it after starting where I did.
Nice, and a good points night for you too there. And like you said, I mean, you said it. You came from the back to the front. We're going to give you the hard charger award tonight here because you definitely earned that. And coming out here, one position away from putting it in victory lane, but nothing to hold your hat on here. Man, definitely coming out of here second place. Hey, got anybody you want to shout out, though?
Absolutely. Got to thank my sponsors, First Rate Bait, Lobster 207, for all they do. Also got to thank Cameron Colby, who paints up my car. Also, got to thank Joey and the guys there, went to Sim500, who run the show. Always fun to come out and run this league each and every week. Also thank you to everyone who comes on races each and every week. Also, shout out to all the boys at Aftermath for letting me be in their team speak, allowing to chat strategy and stuff during the races. Also, got to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast, and thanks to everyone who watched the race.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, again, it was fun to watch you come through the field and the battling going on there tonight. Again, Daniel, congratulations on that second place tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. And one more thing, I also got to thank Transervice for all they do for sponsoring this series. I know they do a lot for this series, and I hope this relationship keeps going to the future.
No doubt about it. There you go. Second place man, Daniel Falkingham. Definitely a hard charger here, and I think Ben has ran down and caught up with our winner tonight, Adam Gillian, and that guy had a rocket ship all night long.
And he did. Almost the exact opposite of the hard charger. The most laps led tonight here at Pocono Raceway. A pretty uneventful race for you, Adam. And here you go. Win number 6 of the season, tying you with Daniel Falkingham. How's it feel to pick it up here at Pocono?
Feels like win number 5 was forever ago. So really happy to get back in victory lane tonight. It's been a rough last month or so. I can't tell you the last time I was in here talking with you guys, but like you said, relatively quiet night speaking as far as, any stuff to overcome, but fortunate to qualify second and maintained up there so I didn't have to get back into that mess. Daniel, I think, was really fast tonight. It was kind of a coin flip on whether to pit or not whenever he pitted. Tires definitely are an advantage, but the aero push with this package is a lot to overcome. He did a great job even making it all the way back up to second.
That he did. You did a great job up in front. Talk about just the strategy calls all night long. There was a couple times where you decided to stay out. A couple times you decided to come in. What kind of led to those, or was it just this kind of a spur of the moment deal with depending on who was around you at that point?
Really wasn't a whole lot of easy decisions tonight. A lot of the cautions were right at the borderline of whether you need to come in for tires and whether it'd be advantage with the arrows. So wasn't a whole lot of easy decisions tonight. it was really what made you think a lot, or what made me think a lot over whether or not to pit was what happened in Kentucky. I pitted at Kentucky thinking tires would be the advantage. I got back there in that wad of cars and the arrows, so ended up in a wreck there, and ultimately that made my decision to stay out tonight when Daniel pitted. Usually at Pocono we get a lot of green flag stops, and tonight we didn't have a single one, so it is what it is. You'll have nights like this where we can't really get a whole lot of green flag runs in, but I think overall we had a great finish to that race.
Great finish indeed for you, up and on top of the pylon, winning win number 6 tonight here at Pocono. Who do you want to thank for getting it done for you tonight?
Yeah, I just got to thank Gary Mercer Trucking and Brendan Mercer, always supporting me in my efforts here on iRacing, and Joey, everyone, all the admins that put all the effort in this league. I know sometimes it's frustrating for them, and they don't quite, see all their hard work's being played out, but it is, and we really appreciate it.
That we do. We thank you for chatting with us, Adam. We wish you the best of luck next week at Watkins Glen as well.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
There you have it, Adam Gilliland, winner tonight here at the Pocono Raceway, and boy, what a race, Joe. I mean, we had a couple more cautions than we're accustomed to in the Transervice Cup Series, but they were all timed at a different time, and it really made for some interesting decisions down on pit road and some very exciting racing throughout the whole race.
It did, and it brought about an awesome, exciting finish here tonight as Adam's going to put it in victory lane there with Daniel coming up in second and Mitch up at the third, Chad Cole to fourth, EJ O'Rourke to fifth, Shane Ewing up to sixth, Nick Cohan to seventh, Chad Cole eighth, Scott Simley to ninth, and Chris Dubuque rounds the top 10. And I'm going to tell you that right there, some of these guys, that last caution and last pit stop helped them get some top 10s, and I know that, man, Adam definitely celebrating and is happy. You said it, though, Ben. We had about everything in this race here tonight you could ask for.
Absolutely. And it was certainly fun with you, Joe. Glad you jumped on with us tonight. Definitely a lifesaver, and we appreciate all your hard work behind the scenes. And hopefully this won't be the last time we see you this season. I'd love to have you back up here a couple more times.
It was definitely fun, man, to see and watch these guys race the tricky triangle here at Pocono tonight. Like you said, the Transervice Cup here for the Sim500. That man right there, Adam, putting it in victory lane. It was fun. It was exciting. Folks, we're going to head out tonight, and everyone have a good night.